So tips and tricks. First off, you are going to have 2 Dotloop accounts for about 90 days if you are working through any closings, not listings, closings. So any closings that you have, you will close out in your Rosenwomble or your Town Realty Dotloop account. Going forward, starting on Friday the 28th, you will put into the new Dotloop. The new Dotloop will be rwtown.com. What's going to happen is Thursday night, Friday morning, while you're sleeping, hopefully, you will get an email. You're going to get a bunch of emails. The fairies, as Barbara called them yesterday, are going to come and sprinkle your email box with lots of emails. Every person that is listening to my voice, every person that's not listening to my voice, you all will use your RW Town email address to log in to the new account. If you have an vanity domain, such as I'm looking at Lewis's picture, if you have a vanity domain such as lewis@lewiseisenberg.com that you're logging into your Town Realty email or .loop, you will continue to use that email address to log into your town version. You will use your RW email address, which everybody has. Everybody has a RW Town email address as your username to log into .loop. Once we get past the 90 days, if you want to change that login email address to the one you're currently using, you'll be able to do so. The first thing you need to know is you're going to have 2 login email addresses. One will be whatever your current existing one is. That will get you into your Rosenwomble or into your BHHS Town Realty. All new accounts for the time being will use your RW Town email address, as you see here, to get into the new Dotloop. All right, so that's tip and trick number 1 is everyone's going to use that same address. Everybody in the company has that email address from that perspective. All right, any questions on that before I move on? Any questions? Everybody understands that there's going to be 2 separate logins. All right. So I'm going to log in here to, I'm going to go into the town one, or the RW Town one here. This is all being built on the back side. So you're going to come into your account, and I'm just going to switch into the company account to show you a couple of templates. Everything's being built. So there's going to be some different forms libraries here. You're going to have the forms folder for BHHS, the RAIN forms folder, the VAR forms folder. All the documents that we've put together will be there temporarily. This will be an only for North Carolina agents. So if you're not in North Carolina, you will not see this library. Only the North Carolina agents will see it. DocSpot and placeholders are not necessarily for any of you all. All right, we have task lists here. So you're going to have a bunch of task lists to choose from and build off of. We'll eventually get some clauses put in there. No clauses right now. We're revamping the clauses. We have the workflows. So we'll have the corporate accounting, which you guys don't need to worry about, but that will be how you all get paid. We'll have the listing workflow. This is our base listing workflow, how it goes from a new listing for input to office admin to the manager to return to you for whatever might need to be. If there's advertising component, letting them know the folder's reviewed, if it's a withdrawn listing or an expired listing. This will be our workflow for the listings. This here is our sales or listing sold workflow. All right, so new sale for review, office admin, manager needs to review, return to you if you have some work to do. Folder reviewed, returned to agent. I have 2 of those in there for some reason, so I gotta get that cleaned up. Needs EMD, closed, fall through, and archived. So these will be the base workflows that you all will see within a loop as the loops are being built. All right, we have a couple of basic loops that we're starting with. We're starting with a basic standard listing agreement. All right, and looks like they haven't put the folders in, the forms in, but that's going to be where all the forms are in the standard listing agreement. And then the standard purchase agreement, again, will have all of the standard forms in here. And actually, they may not have the forms in here. The forms are probably in at the office level. So, and I'm not sure. Let's see if they've got Norfolk done. They're working on these today and tomorrow, getting everything finalized. And let's see if there's any. Oh, they're gonna probably populate that. First thing they have to do is get every one of you all into the system. So that's one of the biggest challenges and hurdles right now. So that'll all be done. Everything will be good for Friday. All right. So what I want to also give you questions before I go on. Questions on anything I just showed you over here. The base loop templates. Oops, let me get into the corporate one. Those base templates are going to be your standard listing agreement, your standard purchase agreements. You're going to have the workflows, which you guys don't necessarily have to see, but you'll see them, exposure, and then all those libraries that we have right here at this point to find those documents if they're not in those templates and you need to add them. Any questions on that? Karen, go ahead.
In a standard purchase agreement, does that also have all of your buyer docs in that template?
It does. You'll have two folders. You have a buyer folder and you will have a sales contract folder. The sales contract folder will have all your placeholders in it as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions on that? All right, so let's go here to your profiles. So see where it says my account up here. You'll hover over. You'll come into your new account. And we'll come over to your profiles. I've got a bunch of profiles, as you can see. So I'm just going to go to my agent profile. And I'm going to come here, and my profile name is Tim Vohar. My office phone number is here. My broker license number is set up at this point with the old, or this is my broker license number, I'm sorry. So this number is here. Nope, this is the broker's license. My license number would be here. Not sure. This is in the wrong spot. This broker license number, let me see, and this is my RAIN ID. So, oops. These two numbers is what I'm trying to tell you. The broker license and the office number. These two numbers will come to us on Thursday afternoon, Friday morning. So this broker license number will be the new number. We're hoping it's going to be assigned today or tomorrow, so we might be able to get it out a little bit sooner. And then the RAIN ID numbers, the office IDs will be changing. So these you'll have to put in. Hopefully on Friday we'll have that so you can set these profiles up for yourself. It's already associated with BHHS RW Town Realty. I've got the company name here. You don't necessarily have to go in here and put any of this. If you want, you're welcome to. Then you have your notifications that you can turn on or off. These are the notifications within Dotloop. These are your email document or email notifications. And my email's blowing up on me here. And then always make sure you come down here and hit save. So again, you'll come in here, verify your name, your office phone number. These pieces of the information are gonna have to kind of wait until we have that. Hopefully we'll have that before Friday, but if not, you'll have that information to put in here on Friday, so that'll autofill into your loop. Questions on any of this here? Any questions on this? All right. Back here. All right. So if you have any issues with your, I need to get out of this one. I got to get into one where I have contacts. So one of the tips and tricks here that I want to show you is when you have multiple contacts. Let me switch over to this one where it's been used for a couple of years. Anybody question? Someone have a question? Okay, so let me go to my people. So one of the tips and tricks is if you come to your contacts, and I'm going to type in here, Vohar. If you ever have somebody say they can see the document, but they can't sign the document, come in here and see how you have multiple people like Tim M. Vohar, Timothy M. Vohar. These email addresses right here are different. tmvohar.loop plus LH, tvohar at VHHS, tmvohar.loop plus ME. These are all me. All three of these profiles right here are me. However, Dotloop recognizes this as three different people because there's three different email addresses. So if you've sent an email for Tim M. Vohar to sign to tmvohar tmv.loop+lh@gmail.com, and Tim M. Vohar has this email forwarded to Tim Vohar or tvohar at BHHS Town, they won't be able to sign it. They'll be able to see it, but because they're logged into this email address, it won't allow them to sign. They have to be logged into this email address. So if you ever have somebody saying, I can see it, but I can't sign it, come up here to the people section, click on contacts, type in that person's name so that you can see if you have multiple profiles for that one person. This is a very common error that can be rectified by simply taking out the person who is not being used. So in this case, let's say it was this one, I could come here, I could hit delete, I could go back into my loop, and I can resend the documents to the person that needs to be sent to. Questions on that? I think this is a very common error that happens. You have somebody, especially a military person, who will give you a military address and then they can't sign something, or they'll give you a personal email address and they want to sign something, but their personal email can't be opened where they're at. So they ask you to put it to their work email because they can receive it that way. So please make sure you double check that if you have anybody who says they can see it, but they can't sign it. All right. Other questions on this? Any questions on this? All right. Switch profiles to the training profile. In here. Go to all right, so when you have a loop in here, you can come here to the View Details tab, and you can fill in as much of this information as you want, as you can. Always hit save at the end. And then when you go back to your loop, if you put a little checkbox here and you click on Open, you can come up here to this button here, Auto Fill. And now all that information that was in the details page is now transcribed in here. So when I click Auto Fill, it will put the information into my template. And you can see I put it into all of the template. I haven't just put it into one document. By choosing Open, I've now selected all the documents to autofill, and it's even placed the signatures here for Giraffe, who's the seller, placed the signatures here for the listing agent. So it's got this all populated and ready to go. I don't have to go in and place individual. I had a lot of questions the other day on one of my sessions about opening individual documents. So these documents should auto-populate. If you do see any issues with the forms, I'm sure we'll have a few. Please just send them to training and we'll get that to Dotloop and get that corrected and auto-populating as many of those fields as possibly can. So we like to cross-pollinate those as much as we can from that perspective, so you don't have to double type a lot of information. Questions? Any questions on that? All right. Last little trick I want to show you is templates. So you can put your templates for tasks. You can put them at the top, or you can leave them right here. And in this case, I have a general listing task list. But if I want to put another one in here, I can come to load template and scroll down to general sales task list, click add. And now I have my agent general sales task list and my general listing task list. I can move those to the top. And now when I come into my loop, instead of seeing the documents first, I see my tasks first. So some people like to work off tasks. Great way to do this. You can also come in here and assign them to yourself if you'd like. And if you go in here and you choose yourself, and there's Tim Vohar, and you will see there's a due date if I wanted to, tomorrow, this week, next week, specific date. You can put that in there. You would then get a friendly reminder notification right here from Dotloop, or it would be in your task list up here for items you need to complete. So those of you that are really big on task lists, I strongly encourage you to take a look at the tasks within Dotloop. Also, if you wanted to, oops, scroll too far, I could come here and I could add a task list. And when I add that task list, it comes down here, new task list, and you can come in here and you can create your own task list. Now, my strong recommendation is not to add your own task list right into an individual loop. If you wanted to add a task list for yourself with your items, I would come up here to the templates, come down to tasks, then you're going to get a new task list here. Click on that. Tim's task list. Oops. Because when I create this task list inside here and I create these tasks, I now have Tim's task list down here. Now I can apply that each and every listing or each and every sale that I'm working through. So we can work through that process of building task lists. Questions on that? Man, my phone is going crazy today, y'all. Any questions for you? For me? Questions? Yeah. I only have one thing to do, and it feels like there's 100 things to do. Right, Christian?
Absolutely. Tim, if you can, just one more time before you sign off, if you could cover the logins, because I assume the first part of everyone's email address will be the same. It's only the last part that's going to change, correct?
Well, I wish I had the right answer for that, Christian. So I believe the answer is how it exists today is how it will exist come Monday. So in my case, my login is T Vohar, no first name dot last name. So I believe everyone is going to have the same nomenclature to the first part at the @ sign. This is going to be how it exists today. On the back side, everybody's will all be rwtown.com on the back side. Certainly, if you have questions or you have issues, please reach out. We have a master list here that's going into Dotloop, and we will address that on Friday, Monday, Tuesday next week as we start to realize that there's some issues. However, everyone will log in with the rwtown.com until we hit that 90-day mark. Once we hit the 90-day and we close out the old companies, then everyone's email address can be whichever one they want. As I used Lewis as an example earlier, if Lewis is logging in as Lewis at Lewis Eisenberg, that will continue to be his Town Realty one. He will use RW Town to get in for 90 days to the RW Town one. And then once that 90 days has expired, he can switch that RW Town to Lewis at Lewis Eisenberg to continue to access his Dotloop going forward.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm still confused because I don't have any idea what my RW Town email address would be. Would it be the first part of my Rose and Womble email address?
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
it'll be the first part of your Rose and Womble. Absolutely. So if
Okay.
it's G deal now, it'll stay that. If it's gay dot deal, it'll stay
Okay.
that. Mhm.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions? All right. So as you can see, my hair is on fire. I'm headed out to a meeting and answer some of these text messages and phone calls that have been blowing up my phone as I've been teaching. So thank you,
Awesome.
everybody. We'll see you on Thursday. Have a great day. Thanks,
You too.
Christian.
Thanks, Tim. All right, guys.